Welcome to the Capital Spreads Weekly Update. Today is Tuesday, the 12th of February 2013. A relatively flat start to the week so far. FTSE, although, is just trading a little bit higher following yesterday, where we saw a little bit of a decline across most indices, but things have been quite quiet because of the Chinese New Year. Many Asian markets have been closed. So really a sort of quiet and flat start to this week. FTSE's at 6,300, the Dow still just shy of that 14,000 mark at 13,970, euro dollar at 134.30, cable at 155.85, gold at 16.42, and Brent continues to rise somewhat. It's at 118.40. And today the focus has been a little bit on inflation data. Inflation in the UK has stabilised somewhat, but it still remains stubbornly above the Bank of England's target of 2%. As mentioned, that price of Brent really has climbed in line with equity prices over the past 6 weeks or so far in 2013. That really has kept sort of petrol prices quite high, and so inflation doesn't look to really be coming down towards that target of 2% anytime soon. But it came in pretty much in line with expectations, so no real surprises there, and unlikely to be any action on the back of that from the Bank of England. But really the main focus, and I suppose the cause for the degree of tentativeness amongst investors, is the fact that President Obama is making his State of Union speech tonight. It will be very much after markets have closed here in Europe and the US as well. But this is quite a key speech because really looming now, the end of this month is of course the deadline for the sequester. That is the government spending cuts that have to be agreed by US politicians. They were delayed by the fiscal cliff negotiations at New Year, and we can expect Obama to make some sort of comment on those tonight. And of course they're going to have to work pretty hard towards that deadline at the end of this month to actually come to some sort of an agreement as to what to do about government spending. So I think that that's probably the main reason why markets have just come off the boil somewhat in February. So that'll be probably a highlight of this week, certainly later on tonight. Wednesday, from the EU we get industrial production. We also get another highlight of the week. It's the Bank of England's inflation report. Now, of course, the focus there will be on their forecast for growth. They were a little bit too optimistic for the fourth quarter, which of course showed that contraction, and the chances of a triple-dip recession in the UK of course have increased somewhat. It's unlikely that they're going to give any messages of further loosening, further QE, because of course, as mentioned, that inflation target does remain relatively high. Then we also get US retail sales, but then we go into Thursday, and the focus there will be the Bank of Japan. Of course, the Bank of Japan has been ramping up quantitative easing quite significantly to finally get itself out of its entrenched deflation and to stimulate the economy somehow by getting a bit of inflation into the economy. The focus probably there is going to be on the next leader. The current leader of the Bank of Japan has resigned and is expected to leave earlier than was originally planned. So who's going to be the next Bank of Japan leader? That is the question, and just how accommodative are they going to be in order to drive that inflation going forward? There'll also be a focus on growth figures. Obviously the UK has had its GDP for the fourth quarter of last year, but we get the first reading of GDP for France, Germany and the Eurozone. So quite a focus on GDP on Thursday. All of those are expected to point to a contraction as well. And then to finish off, on Friday, we get UK retail sales, we get US industrial production, and we get the University of Michigan sentiment number as well. So quite a busy week as things get towards the end of the week, and really we'll have to see whether we're going to continue in this consolidatory phase for the FTSE, or whether there's going to be something that might just give the bulls a bit of impetus to test the year's highs. That's it. As ever, do give us feedback, media@capitalspreads.com.